Hello and welcome back to Pharmahealth Insights, Episode 3. In my earlier episodes, I walked you through the fundamentals of critical quality attributes, CQAs, and critical process parameters, CPPs. Today, I am going beyond that. We are going to integrate those two pillars, CQAs and CPPs, into one living, breathing process control framework. Why does this matter? Because in top pharmaceutical organizations, it's not enough to define CQAs and set CPPs independently. The real mastery lies in linking them, combining science, data, and proactive control to build a quality system that responds in real time. If you've ever wondered how elite pharma teams avoid batch failures, stay audit ready, and accelerate time to market, this episode is for you. Let's dive in and discover why our mantra is integration, not isolation. Now that you know what we're unlocking in this episode, let's start by asking a big question: why does integration matter so much? What's the hidden thread connecting process parameters and product quality, and why do even the most experienced teams sometimes miss it? Let's uncover the invisible link between CPPs and CQAs that makes or breaks pharmaceutical excellence. Here's a powerful metaphor: a relay race. In that race, your CQAs are the finish line, the product attributes you absolutely cannot compromise, assay, dissolution, stability, impurity limits, etc. Meanwhile, CPPs are your runners: heat, pressure, mixing speed, moisture content, each one carrying the baton, process performance, across stages. If one runner, i.e. one CPP, falters or falls, the baton is dropped, and the race is lost, meaning you risk deviating CQAs or even outright failure. That's what we mean by hidden link, the cause and effect chain between process settings and product quality. By integrating, you map and control how every CPP influences every CQA, anticipating weak legs before they fail. The result: a process that defends itself. No surprises, no blind spots. So, how do you do that in practice? Let's look at the tools and structure behind this integration. So, if integration is the key, how do we actually map these invisible connections? How do we move from theory to a system where risk is not just identified, but predicted and controlled? The answer lies in structured science, risk assessment and mapping. Let's open that toolkit. The first actionable step in integration is a formal risk assessment. Tools like FMEA, Failure Mode and Effects Analysis, or Ishikawa, Fishbone, diagrams help you systematically evaluate which CPPs have direct or indirect influence on which CQAs. For instance, you might find that granulation moisture indirectly influences dissolution variability via porosity, or that compression force has a direct, high-impact link to tablet hardness. You score each intersection, low, medium, high risk, document the rationale, and prioritize your monitoring efforts accordingly. That mapping then becomes your master map for design, validation, and ongoing control. This is not guesswork, it's structured, science-based, data-driven. Now, let's look at a concrete example in tablet manufacture to see how this plays out. We've talked about identifying high-impact parameters and how they relate to product quality, but what does that really look like on the factory floor? Let's take a front row seat inside a real tablet manufacturing process and see how these relationships come to life, one cell, one risk, one insight at a time. Picture a matrix. Along the rows are your CQAs, for example tablet hardness, dissolution rate, assay uniformity, friability. Along the columns are your CPPs, granulation moisture level, compression force, drying temperature, time, lubricant mix speed, etc. At each cell, you give an impact score, low, medium, high, based on experiments, previous batches, literature, or risk analysis. For example, compression force, hardness might be high. Meanwhile, drying temperature, assay uniformity might be medium, if heat degradation is a concern. Granulation moisture, dissolution could be high-medium, depending on excipient behavior. You can even color code it: red for high risk, yellow medium, green low. From this map, you immediately see which CPPs deserve tight control and real-time monitoring, and which can be controlled less tightly. With this visual map ready, your next challenge is: how do you keep things under control in real time, not just in theory? Now that our map is ready, here's the challenge. The process doesn't pause for us to analyze it. It's moving, heating, compressing, drying in real time. So how can we control it while it's happening? Up next, let's explore how modern pharma turns these static maps into living systems of real-time monitoring and feedback, where your process almost thinks for itself. In a mature pharma operation, you don't wait for the final tablet to tell you have a problem. You monitor CPPs continuously, using tools like PAT, process analytical technology, inline sensors, near spectrometry, Raman, flow meters, moisture probes, etc. Simultaneously, you feed real-time CQA proxies or surrogates, example. In process sampling, trending intermediate attributes. You build dashboards where process settings, CPPs, and quality readouts, CQAs, live side by side. When a CPP drifts toward its acceptable limit, your system highlights it, triggers further CQA tests, or alarms, or even triggers corrective actions, e.g. adjust temperature, reduce mixing speed. It's like a self-regulating engine. CPPs feed quality, quality gives feedback, the loop keeps everything in balance. Many leading pharma plants now use data historians, SCADA systems, or MES overlays to capture, analyze and visualize this linkage batch after batch. Curious how it works in real life? Let's see a case study. You've seen how integration should work. Now, let's test it against reality. Does it actually prevent failures? Does it make life easier, or just add complexity? To find out, let's go inside a real case study where integrated control turned a risky product launch into a flawless success story. Let me walk you through a real case, redacted for confidentiality. A pharma company launching a new oral solid dosage mapped each CPP to CQAs using design of experiments, DO, in early development. They defined acceptable ranges for each CPP and CQA linkage. During manufacturing, they installed inline sensors for key CPPs. Whenever a parameter drifted toward its limit, the system flagged it. The system triggered extra CQA sampling on that batch. If the CQA was still within spec, the batch continued. If not, corrective blending or rework steps were applied. The result? 0 failed batches in year 1 of launch, regulatory approval accelerated, and confidence across all teams grew. That is the power of integrated control. It's not just nice to have, it's a strategic enabler. Next, though, we must remember, technology without people is powerless. Let's talk about the human dimension. We've seen the tech, the sensors, and the systems, but let's be honest, the best software in the world won't save a process if people don't believe in it. The next layer of integration isn't digital, it's human. Let's uncover how empowering your people creates a culture where quality isn't just controlled, it's lived. Even the most advanced systems are worthless if operators and engineers don't buy in. The real magic happens when your team understands. My setting adjustment, CPP, directly affects patient safety, CQA. When that connection is visible, for example via dashboards, visual maps, or empowerment workshops, your teams catch deviations earlier, escalate real issues faster, and suggest process improvements. You shift from reactive, fixing failures, to proactive and predictive. Training, visual aids, CQA CPP maps on walls, cross-functional meetings, root cause deep dives, all help build this mindset. Everyone becomes a quality guardian. Curious? Think of operators as the last sensor in the line. They see subtleties machines can't. Integration channels that insight into continuous process robustness. But how does this look through the eyes of regulators? That's next. So, if culture fuels the system, what about compliance? When regulators walk into your site, they don't just want to see reports, they want to see understanding. Let's see why integration doesn't just make science stronger, it also turns your next audit into a story of confidence, not anxiety. Regulators now expect more than static protocols. They want science-based evidence that every process parameter has a documented influence on product quality, and that control strategies are in place to maintain it. When you can show auditors a risk map linking CPPs to CQAs, annotated with real batch data, drift notification logs, corrective actions, and trending charts, you demonstrate deep process understanding and regulatory maturity. In inspection, that's gold. You are not fumbling with, "We hope it works," you show them, "We understand how it works." Pharmahealth Insights Pro Tip: keep every version of the risk map, every process response log, and every corrective trace for your products. Use versioning and audit trails so you can show how control logic evolved. Integration isn't just good science, it's your audit armor. Now, let's take a peek into what comes next: AI, analytics, continuous improvement. Integration is powerful, but what if your process could learn from itself? What if algorithms could see patterns your team can't, and predict drifts before they happen? Welcome to the next frontier, where AI and advanced analytics take process control from reactive to predictive. Let's explore how close we are to that reality. True integration is just the beginning. The next frontier is adding artificial intelligence, machine learning, and advanced analytics on top of your integrated CPP-CQA datasets. Imagine models that detect subtle drifts well before humans can see them, models that recommend optimal parameter tweaks to avoid out-of-spec conditions, even self-optimizing loops. Teams are already doing this, layering neural nets, multivariate analysis, predictive modeling onto their process data. The result: quality by control, rather than quality by exception. Over time, processes become more autonomous, experts focus on innovation, and your product quality becomes more robust, reproducible, and scalable. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, this is where you're heading. So, how do you get started right now with integration in your own site? Let's close with an action plan. We've journeyed through science, systems, and the future, but here's the real question: how do you start today? No futuristic lab, no million-dollar software, just smart, practical steps that turn integration into everyday practice. Let's map out your action plan for bringing this to life. I want to leave you with a practical roadmap, your guide to integrating CPPs and CQAs in your operations. Map every SKA to its most influential CPPs, use risk tools plus experimental data. Implement real-time monitoring and data integration across those key CPPs and CQA surrogates. Empower your team with visibility, show operators how their actions matter, train them on the linkage. Document everything thoroughly: versions of maps, drift logs, corrective actions, audit trails. Use your insights continuously, trend over time, improve design space, refine control strategies. Explore advanced analytics and AI layering when you have enough integrated data. Remember, integration is not a luxury, it's becoming the new standard in quality pharmaceutical manufacturing. Take small steps, build confidence, validate, then scale. You are building a quality system that not only works, but doesn't let you down. Thank you for tuning into Pharmahealth Insights, Episode 3. We hope you now see how integrating CPPs and CQAs can transform your approach to process control. In our next episode, we'll explore digital transformation in pharma, how PAT, artificial intelligence, enterprise quality management systems, EQMS, and more are reshaping quality frameworks for the next generation. We'd love to hear from you. Drop your questions or examples in the comments below. If this video added value, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's push the boundaries of pharmaceutical excellence together. Until next time.